So before I started my channel here, before I had quit my job, took that sabbatical, ended up getting a job in the personal training realm here. I worked in sales. So that was my job for about 5 years prior to just very coincidentally the start of this channel. And while I was working in sales, there was a very ingrained idea, which was you need to wade through the no's to get to the yeses. And in the realm of sales, it's very, very difficult for a lot of people. What I was doing was phone. So basically calling people, following up on leads all the time. It's not for everybody. And the reason why is you're getting a ton of rejection. Like, that job literally is to teach you how to be rejected in many respects. So you go through, you call, and man, maybe you get through, 50 calls, maybe, and that's a light day, right? Maybe you get through 100 calls, right? And you get maybe a total of 90 minutes, 2 hours of talk time just in those 2 hours. And the reason why is the constant rejections, the constant, basically like just not interested, no, whatever. And then you finally get like a little bit, maybe, and it's like you follow up, right? You keep them in your kind of on your list there. Basically, you follow up them, emails, whatever. And it's a constant struggle just to get the yes. It's constantly pushing through no's and rejections to get to the yes. And what you learn through that process, though, is that the yes lives within that no. A lot of people, and even me, you'll hear me in this process complain a lot about the rejections, right? You'll hear me complain a lot about, like the queries not getting picked up right. You'll hear me complain about lit mags and all that stuff. And as much as I complain about that, because it's still an element, right? It's still frustrating. There's a deeper maturity there. There's a deeper understanding that the yes will eventually come, but within that realm of no. Many people will take the no's and stop. You will simply take the no's and you will just outright not push forward. And it's a very simple idea to keep going. It's very, very simple. And it's very easy to tell people to go forward when you are getting bombarded with those rejections, right? It's very easy to tell other people. It's very easy from the outside. But when you're going through it, it is the most annoying thing in the world. And what makes it harder, especially for us writers, is that it's much easier to get a no from a product you're selling. It was much, I've never gotten a rejection when I was working in sales that ever affected me like getting no's from queries and lit mags, right? Because it's my product, right? It's my baby. It's this thing that I spent so much time working on. And so I'm here to kind of reiterate that your yes, like your victory, what you're going to get out of this thing is going to live within those no's. And if you haven't got to where you want yet, you need to get more no's. You need to get more rejections. Back when I was doing jiu-jitsu, there was the expression 10,000 tap outs, right? And I'm assuming my coach came up with that just from like the 10,000 hours rule about 10,000 to become master, right? For us, it was 10,000 tap outs, and it was you need to be tapped out yourself 10,000 times before you get your black belt. I don't know how. No one ever tracks that, obviously, so I have no idea how true that ever is. But it feels pretty true, right? If you get beaten 10,000 times, you've probably eventually figured out how to move past that, right? You've probably figured out how to get to the upper echelons, I think. In truth, that seems a little too low now that I think about it more and more. Just I'm like, okay, so if you're rolling, you train 3 times a week, you're rolling with you're getting several matches on your belt each session, right? That's going to add up. You're probably getting at least what you're getting double digits basically matches every single week. That's maybe it works out. Who knows? But the point remains, right? 10,000 tap outs. That's what it takes to get the black belt. Same thing with this. Maybe it's 10,000 rejections. I don't think so. And in truth, I don't think we could ever get like, it's not that. It's not actually that. But it's a lot, right? It's a ton. And man, just, it sucks. And the advice is annoying, but it's moving forward. It's moving forward through those no's to get the yeses. Because on the other side is that yes. And it's not always about reinventing yourself either. It's not about getting the no's. Like, it's not about getting, 20, 50, 100 rejections and going, oh, this book is just not going to work. It's terrible, whatever. I need to rewrite the whole thing. Maybe you do. Perhaps that is needed. But understand too, it might just be preference. Going back to what I talked about a long time ago about the chocolate ice cream versus dog shit, right? I talked about that analogy before, where if I started a little ice cream stand, right, and I was offering vanilla ice cream versus chocolate ice cream, I have probably a 50-50 chance, right, of making a sale on chocolate ice cream, right? About half the customers will just assume are going to buy the chocolate ice cream over the vanilla ice cream, okay? But if I started offering vanilla ice cream or dog crap, right, everyone's going to buy the vanilla ice cream. No one's ever going to buy the dog crap, right? It's the same thing with your work. It's preference over taste. Is what you are doing a matter of preference? It's just not something that a particular agent, editor, whatever is interested in, right? Is it a vanilla versus chocolate scenario? Or is it a vanilla or dog shit scenario, right? Is it just not a matter of preference? Your work just does not stand up to anything and no one's ever going to be interested because your work is just not of quality. That's what you need to recognize, right? Preference versus quality. If your rejections are over preference, then keep pushing forward. If it's over quality, then that's when you need to start reassessing. But to get that information, to get that feedback, it's going to require the no's. The no's are the feedback. The no's are how you basically product test what you've written. And so I'd encourage you to keep pushing forward with through these rejections, to start moving towards and start moving through these trenches with the idea that you're getting feedback and a greater awareness of where you're at, and to not necessarily start fretting and jumping and start changing everything about what you're doing after the first few dozen rejections, but to keep pushing forward as it is until you start feeling like your rejections are becoming a matter of taste and quality, not so much over preference.